It may not be the most famous square, but Wright Square has a story as famous as any in Savannah. The square itself is significant in its placement in Savannah's history.
This was the second square that they laid out and constructed after Johnson Square. They moved south first before they started going out east and west.
But what's most known about Wright Square is the story of its two monuments and how they came to be. To get that story, I turned to Savannah tour guide Andy Blair. The first monument to sit in Wright Square was one commemorating the gravesite of Tomochichi, the chief of the Yamacraw tribe living in the area who became a friend to General James Oglethorpe. Sometimes called the second founder of Georgia, Tomochichi was critical in the establishment of the colony.
Without him, it would not have made it past year one. So he played a huge role, became friends with Oglethorpe and the colonists.
After Tomochichi's death in 1739, he was buried in what is now Wright Square, and a monument was built in his honor.
It was a stack of stones that people brought and stacked up, and so there was a giant pile of stones for a long time that served as the monument to Tomochichi.
But in 1883, a new monument was put in place in Wright Square. This one a dedication to William Washington Gordon. Gordon served several roles, including mayor of Savannah, but he was best known for a different position.
William Gordon, he was the president of the Central Railroad, which of course played a huge role because that was allowed all the cotton throughout the Southeast to be brought into Savannah.
The Gordon Monument still stands in the center of Wright Square, but just a few yards away, Tomochichi is again remembered. 16 years after the Gordon Monument was created, a new monument in Tomochichi's honor was created, thanks to efforts led by the Gordon family. They
ended up initiating with another organization here in town to actually put in a monument to Tomochichi in the square. So they've got a large piece of granite they put in the southeast corner that was mined from Stone Mountain up outside of Atlanta that they brought and they've put in the corner, and there's a plaque on it now that is a monument to Tomochichi.
And that monument isn't the only remembrance of Tomochichi at Wright Square these days.
Our federal courthouse sits on Wright Square, and the federal government has renamed that the Tomochichi Federal Courthouse. So there's been efforts to go back, acknowledge him and who he was.
Wright Square may not be the most well-known square in Savannah, but its two monuments serve as reminders of one of the most famous stories in the hostess city.